Okay, so talking about managing, one of the biggest things you have to manage is to manage the narrative around the economy as you tell Ghanaians to vote for Dr. Baumia, who has been chair of the Economic Management Committee for the past 8 years. There's a message from John Mahama to you. He sent it to me and he says I should give it to you. I want you to listen and then you respond to that.
Okay.
Actually, that's a message from Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. I'll get you the John Mahama message, but how are you able to navigate your way through on this issue of the economy? In fact, in 92, one of the big slogans of the elections in the US was, "Is the economy stupid?" The economy is the biggest deal in this election. Your man, whom you are selling to Ghanaians, is the man who has been managing the economy. How are you going to navigate your way out of that?
We don't have to navigate our way out of it. We have to face the reality and we have to tell the Ghanaian people as it is.
So you tell Ghanaians that, we have failed in managing the economy, even though we promised you that we're going to reduce the cost of fuel. We told you we're going to reduce borrowing. We told you that interest rates will be better. We told you that we'll arrest the dollar and give the key to the IGP. We have failed in all of these things, but still give us a chance. That's what you'll be.
Not at all. We have not failed in any single one of those points. What we need to tell the Ghanaian is to imagine that for all the things that we went through, can you imagine if John Mahama had been president, where would we be today? When there was no challenge at all from 2012 to 2017, when he took over from Atta Mills, the economy was growing at 8.8%. By the time he exited 2016, he had shrunk it. It was growing at 3.4. So imagine going through COVID and all that it represented. Russia, Ukraine, where would we have been by now? He took an economy that had inflation about single digit, about 8 point something. By the time he exited, it was about 70, between 15 and 17%. In fact, he went all the way to 17, came down slightly to about 15.5. And nothing of the sort that we have been through happened. So where do you think Ghana would be? And you know what the challenges he enumerated in his last sona to Parliament were? He said his challenges were that the turret bearing on the FPSO had broken, and so they couldn't lift enough oil. Some petty things.
Hand of God.
Were the things that John Mahama told Ghanaians was the reasons for his below stellar performance. So can you imagine today if he had been president from 2017 till, let's say, 2020, or from 2020 till now, with all the challenges that we've been through? We picked that economy he left at 3.4, grew it in 2017 by 8.1%, continued with an average growth of almost 7% till 2020 when we had issues. Obviously, these issues were not locally made. They were global in nature. You've seen the US, you've seen UK. UK changed prime ministers how many times?
So many, like 100 times.
Did they fix the problem?
They eventually had to change the government.
You know what I mean?
So is that not in your... it's actually going to... What you have just said is
what I'm
to your
saying
disadvantage.
is that the people thinking that the solution lied in that change. Was it really that change? So
yeah, that was internal change.
So was it really the cause of the global problem? You understand what I'm saying? That these things we are looking at, all these major economies, Germany, I think they were almost in economic recession, Japan, and all the others. So clearly there's a global problem. So what you're looking at is the John Mahama whose record I've just given you as against Baumia. Which of these two people is better equipped to deal with the economy, which is now recovering? Clearly, we went in 2022 to 54% in terms of inflation. We are currently near around 20% and projected to be around 15% by end of year. So the things that happened are the things that we need to present as is to Ghanaians. Let them understand what faced this economy, apart from the Russia, Ukraine, and COVID I mentioned, we had to pay IPP, take or pay $600 million annually. Things that were hidden from us. The banking sector cleanup exercise, 25 billion Ghana cedis that we had not budgeted for. I had to look for money to meet. Otherwise, over 4 million Ghanaians deposits were going to go down the drain. All these things are things we need to let Ghanaians understand.
Okay, so you see, Ghanaians would remember the record of Mahama, but they most likely would actually also forget. Donald Trump left office just 4 years ago. Americans have already forgotten what he did and they've brought him back. Mahama left 8 years ago. If you are still, repeating things that he did at the time, you start sounding like a broken record. And people will remember immediately. In fact, you were part of the Kufuor government and you remember Kufuor's campaign in 99. He said, look inside or look at your, my tree is not good, but you are still
and that is why
if people should do that now, judge you by that yardstick, you would fail, wouldn't you?
And that is why I would caution people, because if you recollect, when Kufuor came in, the country was broke in 2001. And the NDC, where if it was that they were shy or felt ashamed to say that they had taken the country to that level, Kufuor declared us epic. And through that, we got some forgiveness of debt. He was able to get the country back on track to the point where by the time he left office, we were a lower middle income country, from a epic country, a heavily indebted poor country, to a lower middle income country. That is the work of Kufuor. What happened? We had the Wall Street situation, if you recollect, which caused some economic issue. Then the U.S. wars in
the meltdown,
Middle East as well, which affected fuel, crude prices. Crude prices went as high as $128 per barrel during the latter part of Kufuor administration.